Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is Mom Life. So today I'm going to be talking about my pregnancy with little Matt and just basically walking you through what I went through, how I found out, our gender reveal, my baby showers, all of that, more for a record of how this pregnancy went, so that when I do fall pregnant again I sort of have a reference to look back on to sort of see how different the next pregnancy will be to this one, or how similar it is. For any pregnant moms out there, to sort of know what I went through, things I did that helped some of my symptoms, to alleviate some of my symptoms, some of the stuff I wore as well, and yeah, just hope it helps someone out there. I'm going to take you back to last year March when me and hubby got married. We got married on the 9th of March. Awesome day, loved it, couldn't have been any better. I got to marry the love of my life and everything was just awesome. And yeah, we decided that obviously after we got married we would look at having children. I wanted to do it rather sooner than later, just because I am in my 30s and I didn't want to wait much longer, because after 35 there's that whole thing of it being more dangerous for you and for the baby and all of that. So I wanted to start trying as soon as possible. We also were only going to start trying once we moved over to a better medical aid scheme, and that only happened in April, well, beginning of May, April last year. So yeah, when hubby let me know that we were officially moving over, that's when we decided, okay, we'll start trying. Which, yeah, it's very funny because, yeah, we honestly didn't think it would happen as fast as it did, because we've gone 7 years without any sort of incidents or accidents or anything like that. And I'm not on any sort of birth control at all. We only use condoms as our form of birth control. So I was fairly certain there must be something wrong somewhere and we might struggle to actually fall pregnant. Whether it was from my side or from his, like, I didn't know. I was just fairly certain because we hadn't had any accidents. So we started trying in April. I got a testing fertility type kit from a website. I'll see if I can find it and I'll link it down below. They're really nice. I've got a nice range of stuff. And in this kit were OPKs, pregnancy tests, thermometer, and then how to track your fertility through your temperature, your BBT in the mornings. So I thought I'd just start tracking my temperature first, and if we struggled that month, then the next month I'd look at maybe using the OPKs as well, but it wasn't necessary. But anyway, so I was testing my temperature, and yeah, I went over 2 weeks from my last period, and I was like, okay, there's been no spike in my temperature. I might not be ovulating this month at all. It's what they call an anovulation month. So I just wrote it off as it's one of those. I'm probably going to end up being late and we'll just try again next month and see how it goes. I continued to track my temperature and it did spike at one point, and I just thought, oh, it's probably a fluke. It couldn't have been ovulation. It's way too late for that. No, it wasn't. It was ovulation. So yeah, I wrote April off as it's not going to happen, we'll try in May. 3 days before the end of April, I took a pregnancy test. It was very negative, it was very white. I'll show you a picture. It was very negative obviously, and I just went, okay, definitely not going to be happening. On the 1st of May, which is a public holiday here in South Africa, it's Workers' Day. My parents had wanted me and my sisters to go over to their place to help clear out the storage room, so we needed to go and help out so we could decide like if we wanted anything that was in there, but if not, everything was going to either be given away to charity or thrown out. So for some reason I got up that morning, I was in a bad mood, I don't remember why. I got up and I thought, let me just take another one just to be sure, so that, you know, I'm not lifting anything heavy or, you know, compromising myself if I am pregnant. Not that I think it would have done anything, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I went to the bathroom and took out the test, and I went, oh, I'm going to waste another one of these. I can just see it, it's going to be negative again, like what am I doing? But I thought, just do it. Took the test and I didn't even have to wait for that 5-minute window. I flipped it over, watched the dye go across the test, and that second line picked up dye, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is positive. Like, oh my goodness, this is actually a positive test. And it was crazy. I didn't think that was gonna happen, and I was like slightly freaking out, like in a good way, like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. And now, of course, my husband knew I was in a bad mood, so now, of course, the switch in mood, I was so worried he was going to figure out, like, what was going on, because I wanted to surprise him with this pregnancy. So the beginning of April, I had gotten a little onesie printed that said, born to play PS4 with daddy, and it was hidden in the top of my cupboard. I had decided what I was going to do when I told him, is I was going to dress this little penguin up that we got from Cape Town for our honeymoon. I was going to dress this little penguin up in the onesie and put the pregnancy test inside the onesie, and this is how I was going to tell my husband I was pregnant. So I was also planning on doing this on a day when he was at work, and I got home early from work. But of course, with it being a public holiday, we were both at home and we were both getting ready to leave to my parents' house. So now I'm trying to figure out how to quickly do this to tell him that I'm pregnant without him walking in on me getting this little penguin dressed. So he finishes up in the bedroom and he leaves. I think he went to go make coffee. And so I dash in from the bathroom, grab the little onesie I had stashed in the top of my cupboard out, put it all on the bed, and as I'm trying to get the onesie out of the packet, I can hear my husband coming down the passage back towards the bedroom, and I'm like, shit, I need to hide, basically. So I dash into the ensuite bathroom, close the door, and I quickly sit there and put everything on the penguin, put the little pregnancy test in the top of the onesie. I then open the door like a smidge and I tell him, you need to close your eyes. And I can see he's looking at me like, what is she doing? And he's like, why? And I'm like, no, just close your eyes. I want to show you something, but you need to close your eyes first. So he's like, okay. So he closes his eyes, I tell him to hold his hands out, and I give him a penguin. And he opens his eyes and he's like, oh my gosh, are you pregnant? So yeah, that sent me, of course, into a flood of tears and very excited. And then that realization of, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. It's a good realization, but it's also that, like, this is actually going to happen. This isn't like some fantasy in my head anymore. So I then wanted to tell my parents and his parents immediately. I decided long ago that I wanted to do something special for each of them. For Tience's mom, we did something baking related, and for my mom, I did something book related. Because my mom's a writer, so that's why she got something book related, and his mom is a baker, so we got something baking related for her. We also got 2 rattles, one for my dad and one for his. The story behind the rattle is, before Tience's mom found out that she was pregnant with Tience, the Christmas before, she happened to pop a Christmas cracker, and inside this Christmas cracker was this baby rattle. So it's sort of like a nod to that. We got them each rattles. We ran around that morning trying to fit all of this shopping I quickly wanted to do now before going to my parents. We were late for my parents, we were very late for my parents. But yeah, we went around to our nearest mall. I got the recipe book for my mother-in-law, and I got the collection of the faraway tree for my mom. So we got everything together, we wrapped them up, and now we were ready to leave to my parents. But before we went there, we decided we'd stop at his parents first to give them their gift first, and then go through to my parents. His parents happened to be at the mall, so we quickly met them there, and I gave his mom the gift. We gave them their gifts as well, under the pretense of early Mother's Day presents. And so we gave her the present, she opened it up, and our hint was in the Mother's Day card at the bottom. It read, "Love, Sarah, Tiens, and baby Forster." So we gave her that card, and she read it, but she only read what was like in the card, and she didn't read from the bottom. I think she just glimpsed it was me just writing from us, and she just closed it, and she said, "Oh, thank you very much, that's so sweet." And then I realized, you haven't read the whole card. So I told her, no, you need to read further, read everything. So she looks at me, she opens it, and she reads the bottom and goes, "Oh, really?" So yeah, that was really cool. And then we gave his dad the rattle. From there, and his mom had to keep it a secret from his sister, because they live on the same property, and we were only going to be able to tell his sister later in the day. So I'll tell you just now what happened there. Then we went to my parents' house. We got there very late. My sisters were not impressed with me because I was late, and I'm not usually that late. We got in, and I said to them, "Okay, before we start anything, I just want to give Mom an early Mother's Day present, because we're not sure if we'll be here for Mother's Day next weekend, so we want to give this to her now." So everyone was like, "Oh, okay, fine." So I give my mom her gift. She opens it up. She sees it's the faraway tree. She goes, "Oh, this is so awesome. It's like such a nice collection." I'm like, "Yeah, it wasn't easy to find, but I'm so glad we found it." We put it in the card at the bottom, "Love from Tiens, Sarah, and baby Forster." She, of course, read the whole card, and she looks at me and she goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, really." So we both start crying, and Jessica and my other sister Michelle were both looking at me. I was like, "Really, what?" So I had to tell them, like, I'm pregnant, and then I got the squeals and the hugs and the happiness and everything. We went and told Tiens' best friend, who lives just down the road from my mom. We happened to find a mug that worked perfectly, and on the mug it says, "Shit happens." And in there we wrote to Uncle Clive, so that it was sort of also a giveaway to me being pregnant. He, of course, was over the moon, because he's been bugging us to have a baby ever since he became a dad. From there we went home, and on the way home we stopped at his sister's house, and we told his sister and brother-in-law and their 2 daughters, and his mom was so happy that they now knew, because according to my father-in-law, my mother kept going to the door of their little cottage, and like she wanted to like go over to them and say something, and he kept having to tell her to shh, it's a secret, she can't say anything. It was very hard for her not to say anything. So yeah, we told them, and then my best friend stays just down the road from them. So we stopped in at her, and I told her, "No, I just want to pop in and see how she's doing," because she was alone at the time. Her boyfriend was away on business in Durban. So I thought, it's a good reason now. I'm just checking in on her. Not that I usually do that. But so she was like already sort of suspicious, because like I don't usually do that, but you know, it's okay. So we stopped in there. She offered us something to drink, and I just could feel myself. I felt like she would know something if I didn't say something immediately. And I didn't want her to figure it out first. I wanted to tell her first before she figured it out. I said to her, "No, I need to show you what happened today." She goes, "Okay, Lila, let me just finish pouring drinks." And I'm like, I cannot wait. I pull my phone out, and I find the picture of the pregnancy test I took that morning. And as she's pouring, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I shove my phone in her face and I go, "Look at this." And of course she goes, oh my gosh, and she does the whole best friend squealy thing, gives me this big hug, and she starts to tear up and I start to tear up, and yeah, very awesome moment. So that's how we told everyone. We did tell everyone, obviously, very early. My reason behind that is because if anything happened, if I miscarried or anything else went wrong, these were the people in my life I wanted to know and wanted to be there for me through a difficult time like that. And I will do it again when we fall pregnant with the next one. These will be the people that will know immediately. We did an announcement at 12 weeks on Facebook, and we told my extended family and my husband's extended family also at 12 weeks. I'll put up our pregnancy announcement as well so you can see what it looked like. Okay, so let's move on to the first trimester. So there wasn't a whole lot that happened. I had to find a gynecologist because I didn't have one. I've never been to one. This was the first time I've ever gone to a gynecologist, and I have to admit, not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, I thought it would be a lot worse. It really isn't. Besides the awkwardness that comes with going to a gynecologist, it's not that bad. It really isn't. I'll go back quite happily. Yeah, so I had to find a gynecologist. I found the most amazing one. She's fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better one. We were lucky enough that she is contracted in with our medical aid, so they claimed everything for us. We didn't have to worry about any of that. Oh, the nice thing with my doctor as well is every appointment I went into, I got an ultrasound, which was awesome. So I have an ultrasound from our 6-week appointment all the way to my 39-week appointments. I have ultrasounds of my little guy, which is so nice. Symptoms and stuff I had in the first trimester, I had an aversion to chicken. I couldn't cook it, I couldn't eat it, the smell of it put me off. Chicken was, no more chicken. Which made things a bit difficult because I had to cook chicken for my daycare. So my hubby ended up half the time having to cook that food for me. And yeah, then I had to warm it up at work, and just the smell also of the warming up, it was so bad. But it was better during the day because my morning sickness or all day sickness was worse in the mornings, okay during the day, and then worse at night again. So cooking it at night would put me off. So warming it up would make me nauseous still, but it wasn't as bad as like the evening or early morning. I also unfortunately had an aversion to coffee, and anyone who knows me knows I am a huge coffee drinker. I love my coffee. So I was so sad that I was off coffee. The smell of it, it didn't smell right, it didn't taste right. It didn't make me nauseous, it just didn't taste the same. So I went off coffee. I started drinking tea, but I'm not a huge tea person. I was sort of more drinking it to help alleviate the caffeine headaches I was starting to get because I went off coffee. And the little bit of caffeine that was in the tea I was drinking was helping to sort of keep that headache at bay, which was a good thing. My sister-in-law also very nicely bought me this tea called Mama's Tea, which is for morning sickness, and that was really nice. So when I got to work in the mornings, I'd have a cup of that to help settle my stomach for the rest of the day. So and it worked. The other two things I would eat in the evening mostly to help also alleviate with the nausea at night were gherkins and salt and vinegar chips. They were like my staple at night. If I happened to get the smell of the chicken while my husband was cooking it at night, I couldn't eat anything else. The thought of eating anything else made me want to throw up. So I would eat gherkins, salt and vinegar chips, and cheese. Very healthy, I know, but it was the only thing that would settle my stomach. The other thing I did in the mornings to help alleviate my morning sickness, so because of course when you wake up your stomach is empty, and I mean sometimes even when you're not pregnant you can wake up and you have like that intense hunger that can sometimes lead to nausea already. So if you get that when you're already now dealing with the pregnancy nausea, it's worse. So I kept a packet of saltines next to my bed, just the plain salted ones. I tried the herb ones, but those were horrible. Just the plain salted ones next to my bed. And so the minute I sat up, I would take one of these, even if I felt nauseous, because I knew that this would actually settle my stomach again. That and water. I had so much water during this pregnancy. I always had a bottle of water with me, and it was always full, even though that meant me running to the bathroom every 5 minutes. Okay, so that was basically it for my first trimester. Not a lot. I did have implantation bleeding. It was like a few spots here and there in the beginning, but other than that, I really didn't have a lot going on in the first trimester. Okay, so now I'm going to do our gender reveal. So the nurse in the doctor's office said to me that at 16 weeks, the doctor would be able to tell me what we were having. So I was very excited about that. I'm like, I've been waiting to know what we're having because I couldn't afford to do the blood test that tells you earlier. So all excited, we go in for our 16-week appointment. We'd also organised to do our gender reveal that Saturday after it, and we go in and I'm all excited. I get into the examination room, expose my tummy. She comes in, chats to us, asks me how I'm doing. I'm like, no, I'm doing good. I'm excited because, you know, we get to see what the baby is today. And she looks at me and she goes, no, we do that at 20 weeks. And I was like, no. I'm like, but the receptionist said that you can tell me today. She's like, no, we only do it at 20 weeks. I was so upset. I'm like, no. I'm like, we've planned a party and everything for Saturday for the gender reveal because I thought we'd be able to find out today. So she was very sweet, I will admit. And she's like, okay, let's have a look, and if I can definitively tell you that it is either a boy or a girl, then I will put it into an envelope and, you know, you can do your gender reveal this weekend. She says, but I don't want to not be 100% sure and then tell you you're having a boy when you're actually having a girl. It's now wrong, and then a month later you find out, oh no, you're actually having the other. So I'm like, no, I understand. She does the ultrasound, my husband's standing next to me, we're chatting to her. She goes, okay, I'm going to have a look away. Because I know what I'm looking for. I had gone through so many ultrasound photos and stuff from the groups I was part of, that I knew what the ultrasound would look like if it was a boy, and I knew what it would look like if it was a girl. So I knew that if I looked at that screen, I would know what it was. So she said to us, no, we need to look away. So both me and my husband look away, and we carry on chatting to her, and she goes, okay, she thinks she knows what it is. So she carries on, she checks everything else on him, his heart, his measurements, his brain, everything, takes a nice little side profile of his little face. And she says, okay, she just wants to make 100% sure, she wants to check one more time. So she tells us to look away again. So we look away again, she goes, okay, I definitely know what it is now. So I'm like, all excited. I'm like, I get to actually find out what my baby is this weekend. So we wrap up there. She puts the pictures into an envelope for us and staples it closed, and we head off to the closest party shop. We asked for one of the gender reveal black balloons with either the pink or the blue balloons inside. That way, instead of the confetti or the glitter or anything like that, it's an easier cleanup because they're just little balloons. We ordered it. My best friend had then said no, she'll go and pick it up the morning of the gender reveal on the Saturday. Thank goodness she did, because the party shop messed up a little bit. When they went to go pick the balloon up from the party shop, the label that was wrapped around the string on the balloon said 1 black balloon, and then I think it was 8, and it said the color of the balloon in there. So thank goodness she went to go pick it up. So she knew before everyone else what we were having, which she was quite happy about because she wanted to know before everyone else anyway. So that is what we did. So I'm going to put the video in here now of the gender reveal. Enjoy.